get back? Your prescription. He ran out of his, he takes Clonidine. It's a blood pressure pill, but for him, it's a sleep aid. And, well, I guess it helps with his blood pressure too, although his is not really ever that high, but he ran out. He didn't have one the night that we got home. And I'd called it in, but then after all that stuff happened, that Monday, when I called to see if it was ready, it still wasn't. It was waiting for approval. And so I think it was, they said Tuesday, but when I called it yesterday, it still had not. But now I've got to notice that it's ready. So we've got to go because I gave him 2 melatonins last night and he didn't sleep. Hey guys, we've been home now a couple of days. Well, it's Wednesday. We got home Sunday night. We've got just a few days till Christmas, and I've got 21 builds for my girls. You know, I do a girls gift or a home gift, something for their home. And I've got 21 of them to do because each home gets 3. It's a set of things. And I've seen them actually last year. A couple of things popped up. And then a couple of times this year, different people have sent me links to the same. They maybe look different because they're links to someone else's craft. I don't know how to describe, explain it. But anyway, I thought these would be simple, and they are simple. They're, in actuality, they're not really expensive if you have the things that, like if you're a bow maker, which I am not a bow maker. I would rather just purchase a pretty bow, but I would have to purchase 3 bows because it takes 3. This gift is a set of 3, and it takes 3 bows. And there are 9. Is that right? Nine people. I believe I had it wrote down, and that get the 9 girls. The 9 girls are, I'm calling them families because usually for the boys I get something, but it's not usually a big deal. This is just a family gift for your home, and it's a set of 3. So anyway, I think I'm miscounting because Anyway, I don't know. I've got everything I need. I believe I have everything I need. I just don't have the lumber yet. I'm going to pick that. See, tomorrow I have Thursday, the 21st. Debbie has an appointment. I didn't even know. She sent me she called me and she said, did I remember? And I honestly don't remember her telling me anything about having an appointment 3 days before Christmas. I do not remember it at all. So I don't know if she thinks she told me, but she didn't, or if she did tell me. I'm not usually one that forgets things like that. I usually write it down or put it in my phone or some kind of a reminder, like a notification. And we were already on our trip when she, I think she sent a text, and then I didn't answer right away because I was driving, and then she called. Anyway, I told her, I said, well, Debbie, I didn't remember. I don't remember that you told me that, but I'll be home by then. I said, we're not even home. I said, we're on our way to Georgia. She didn't know. I didn't actually tell anybody this time around as far as family goes, except for the ones that had initially needed to do something for me. Like, I mean, if you're part of our family and get together with our, I mean, not part of the family, but if you are part of the get-togethers, the Sunday lunches and whatnot, then you already knew that me and Mom were leaving. But if you don't do those things, if you don't show up for gatherings, then you might not would have known. And there's a couple of family members that didn't know anything about it until I was already gone and on the way. And that's just because they're not involved. They're just not involved in the family get-togethers and Sunday lunches and all the other, they're just not involved. So, anyway, we had a wonderful trip. The day coming home was horrible, and I had a video about it, and I attached it to the other video. But if y'all, any of you guys that have seen the trip video, it was 40-something minutes with me sitting and talking about the fiasco at the end of the trip. It added another almost 20 minutes, and it took forever I couldn't get it to build, to load, and download. I couldn't get it to download into YouTube. So I just cut that whole part out and just sent you. So on the way home, we were supposed to drive from Helen to Mobile, Alabama. It was a 6-hour and something drive. Now, I know that I took us an hour out of the way to Murphy, North Carolina, to see the Fields of the Wood. And then, as it happened, coming out of North Carolina, we ended back in Copper Hill, Tennessee, where we were able to spend about 20 minutes of our time in that general store where Mom found her quilts. So that was just all a blessing. Leave up, please pause. So when we got to, as we were coming into our sort of circling around, however the freeway works, Atlanta, there was some kind of, evidently there were 4 accidents. And the traffic was just sitting still. And if you would sit for 2 or 3 minutes and then you would move a couple of feet and then you would stop again. It was horrible. And I would say an hour and a half of our time was just sitting in this mess. To finally, I told Mom, I said, we need to just get off the freeway and see. I wanted to see if I could find a back road. Some way, sometimes when you put in a destination, there will be a thing where it'll show you like there's 2 different ways to get there. One is 5 hours and 10 minutes and one is 5 hours and 45 minutes or something. And I wanted to see if there was another way to get to Mobile besides that dadgum freeway that we were sitting still in. And so I said, let's get a snack. Let's get off the freeway. Let's get a snack. Let's use the bathroom. And then sit in the car, figure out a way, whatever. So we did that fairly easy. We was able to, the very next, as we inched our way up, we were able to take an exit and circle around, and we found a really nice big convenience store with the restrooms and the gas, and we got a snack, used the bathroom, got back in the car. And while I'm sitting there, before we got started, I start looking for something. It looked like no matter what, we were going to have to get on that freeway for at least a little while. And, we don't know how. I'm looking at the GPS, and it's showing this red that looked like it went red forever. And I was like, I don't know if we should even get on that freeway. But as I was trying to decide, there was, I could see the freeway up here. It's like this. We're coming up to it. Then we're going to have to take, a right on the service road and then eventually feed onto the freeway. Okay. But before you get to it, there was a stop sign and there was a small little gas station on that corner. When we were at that red light, not a stop sign, but a red light. While we were at that red light, No, we're not to the freeway yet. We're going to hit the red light. We're going to sit there. Then when it says go, we're going to get to go. Not very far, not a quarter mile, just a little bit. And then you're going to feed onto the service road and onto the freeway. So, but we're back a little ways. And we weren't, the lane right here to turn would turn on whatever this little road was, and the service station was on that corner, but that lane was a turn only. So we had to go straight, and then we would have to move, sort of you're going to go over, then merge and go to the, to the right and onto the service road. So we're in the light, and when we get ready to go, the car won't move. It's in drive and it won't move. And I look at Mom and she goes, is it, I think she said something like, is it in drive? I said, it's in drive. And I gassed it again, and then it sort of went, but it was so slow. And I said, we got to get off the road. And I threw the blinker on, but the traffic was just, they were all coming, like past me. And I wasn't in the turn lane to take that little road, whatever that little road was, and go into that. So I wasn't in that lane. And I couldn't get over because no one was giving me a chance to get over because we were just barely moving. And I managed to finally get over, but now we're at the service road. And so I turned and I stopped, and I'm just like, barely make the service road, get way over. Actually, there were two 18-wheelers parked on the shoulder of that service road, and I pull up sort of behind one of them. And it's sitting on the table, and he's pushing the table around. By the time we got pulled over, the engine light was on, and this little message in the middle of where the gas and all that is, the speedometer and stuff, it said power diminished. I told him, okay, this is power diminished, and now there's a light on. I said, but the car is running. So I said, I don't know what to do. We can't go anywhere from here. I said, I don't know. We don't know about this car. I mean, this is a rental car. And so I said, you need to call the rental car people and see what their protocol is. They need to send a record for this. What do we need to do? Because we can't. So she gets doing that. And I said, but I don't know how to get off this road. Like, if we could just get back to that. I mean, like I could turn my head, and through a little bit of a tree line, I could see that little service station that was on that corner. But we can't get to it because everybody, all that traffic is stopped. So I can't keep going, or I'm going to be in that mess with a broke down car. Even though we were going slow because it was diminished power, if I could have gotten backed up into, like, back up straight where I could go straight, then I might go slow over on the overpass and go into there was another service station on the other side of the overpass, but traffic was just going. Nobody wanted to take that service road. There was a few vehicles took that service road, but not many. They were all crossing over like they were going to go somewhere else. And I was like, Mom, I can't. I said, if we could get an officer to just just hold the traffic back, but they don't do that because an officer did show up. We did call 911, but while we were on the phone with 911, and I don't really know what 911 would have done, because I think Mom called 911 first because we were thinking they needed to send a wrecker. We weren't in an accident, but that freeway was filled up. It was backed up traffic, and we didn't want it to be another accident happening with people trying to go fast and fed up, and and then we're going slow. But while she was on the phone with 911, they were going to send an officer, and about that time, a officer drove past me and pulled in front of me. Drove past us and pulled in front. And he first went up to the 18-wheeler that was in front of me and talked to, I don't know what he's talking to them for, and then he come back to us. And then we explained, and he was looking in my window, and he goes, I see your service engine light on. He said, And then he said, he's not allowed to just stop traffic and let us get back on the freeway. He said our best thing is to take the service road and according to, he even spoke with the rental people on the phone. He spoke with them, and he told her it would be 45 minutes, possibly longer, if we tried to drive there in this car with the diminished power to the airport where the rental place was. He said they need a wrecker. And she said, well, a wrecker could come and get the car off the freeway, but the wrecker won't take us anywhere, and an Uber will not pick you up on the freeway, evidently. So we needed to get to a parking lot somewhere. We needed to get to a store, a hotel. We needed to get off the freeway to get ourselves moved. Oh, it was so stressful. So we decided, she told us that with the Chevy Equinox, that's what she said, if we would kill it and let it sit for a little bit, it will reset. Because that code is to something, and I don't remember what she said, but she said if it sets, it will reset. And then she goes, then yes, bring it. We'll get you a wrecker, or you can get here to the thing, or we will send a wrecker. So we said, okay, get the wrecker set up. We said we would, no, we said we were going to try to bring it to her, is what we were going to do. As we started driving, and as it turned out, traffic was moving a little bit faster, and the exit, which the officer had said, you just need to get to the next exit, and it's just a couple of minutes. And that's what we did. We got to the next exit, and I told Mom, okay, when we started it back up, right there on the freeway, the engine light was still on, but the diminished power had gone off. That was no longer on the screen, but the engine light was still on. And we had more power than we had when we wouldn't really wanted to go anywhere. It was just like nerve-wracking. And you know what? I can handle a lot of things. That kind of stuff doesn't bother me, except I had Levi in the back seat, and I've got to think about gathering him with his stuff, putting him in another vehicle, like an Uber, and it's getting late now. We're in Atlanta, and truth be known, Atlanta is not, I guess honestly, there's just parts of every city you go to that is not good, but we weren't in a good part. It's just the way it was. We weren't in a good part of Atlanta. And so I can tell you this, in the hotel room, and we had a nice hotel. I found us another, I had to cancel the Mobile hotel because we just couldn't keep driving that night. It was a long, drawn-out pile of mess with the traffic that was happening, because according to the officer, there were 4 accidents on the freeway that they were all trying to work. And the wrecker that was going to come and get the car, they do all this stuff with this, where they send you a link and you can click it and you can see where your wrecker driver is and how long it's going to take. And the time kept getting longer till it was almost 8 o'clock, and he still wasn't going to be here. And I told Mom, I said, we are not getting in an Uber in Atlanta. We don't even know where we're at. We don't know anything about this city. We don't know where the airport is. If the guy starts taking us somewhere, we wouldn't know that that's not where we're going, unless I'm trying to watch it on my GPS, I guess. So I said, I got to think of what I can use as a weapon. Anyway, I don't know. Overthinking or not, I just didn't feel like it was safe. So I said, we're not leaving this hotel. Even if they pick up that car, we're not leaving this hotel tonight. We're not getting in an Uber tonight. I said, we want to get an Uber tomorrow during the day where we can see, but not tonight. So at some point we made the decision to just stay in the hotel that night, call off the wrecker because it was just getting later and later. And we have to go down with him when he gets there. And I told Mom, I said, I'm exhausted and I'm starving. We ate out of the vending machine that night. It was just crazy. But I needed to get Levi in a room. I needed to get him settled. And that's your number one priority is when you have children, and especially if you have special needs kids that you can't, if you don't be quiet, I'm going to whip your butt. Because that's what I would say to any of my normal kids. And you can't say that to special needs kids because that don't matter to them. So anyway, I finally said cancel those notifications were coming in on my phone. And I just finally said, I'm canceling this tow truck because I done went over by the window. Now I'm honestly saying this was a nice hotel. I'm not saying it's the fanciest hotel in Atlanta because it wasn't, because we weren't in the greatest area and it's as far as we could get with our car. But it was still part of the Comfort Inns. And it was right on the freeway. The freeway was right there. And it was nice. A nice big fireplace when you walked. I mean, it was really nice. But our room looked out, the windows on our room looked out not to the freeway, but to the roads in the back somewhere. And there was some girl, I don't know, all I can say is I felt like she was, where they were, that word they say, tweaking. She was, I was like, Jesus, please help her. Because she was, that street light was shining down on her, and I shut the curtains. I didn't want her to see in us. I didn't want to see out to her. I just prayed and said, take care of us and in this neighborhood and take care of that girl, whatever her situation was. Later that night, when I got in the bed, I went over to turn the light off. Levi was at the little table at the desk, and the lamp was on, and he was drawing and looking at his tablet, watching a movie or something. And I went to flip the light off on I told him, I said, he's going to have to put his stuff up and stop drawing. He can watch his movie, but he can't draw because I'm just going to turn the light off. And when I looked, sort of peeked out to see if she was gone, she was sitting by the dumpster. They had one of those privacy fence things around the dumpster. And so the dumpster's like up in this little nook, and she was sort of hunkered down there, just sort of on her, I don't know. It's just, I was like, Jesus, help her, help her, help her, help her. And then please watch over us tonight. And, yeah, he watched over us. We were fine. But what he did was the next morning, I told Mom, I said, okay, so we're going to drive from here and we're going to go into the airport and get another car. And she's like, okay, that's the plan. We get in the car and the engine light is off, and the diminished power had already gone off, but that was off and the light was off. And I said, okay. We left really early, about 7 o'clock in the morning. Daniel, we talked to him, he goes, you need to leave, y'all get up and leave about 4. I wasn't going outside in the dark in this town. I wasn't doing it. So, we left at 7. It was still a little dark at 7 there. But we got in the car. Other people were already getting in their cars. There was people leaving already. We were leaving and dropping off keys when other people were dropping off keys. We got in the car. I set it for the airport and got right on the freeway and headed that way. And then I said, you know, between here and home, there's going to be other rental car places. This Avis rental car. I said, why don't we just keep going? I said, because we know that if we kill it and it'll let it rest, then we can go again. I said, we'll just get to the next place. Or if it messes up, we'll get completely off the road like we did before. Because regardless, it's not like we're wasting time doing it, because we would have to sit and wait for a rental car here. We'd have to go there and do everything you got to do to get the new car. Or we just keep going as far as we can until we might have to stop somewhere else to do that process. So it didn't matter. 6 one way, half another dozen another. Just get going, get going. And so that's what we did. When we got home, that car never gave us another minute's problem. It drove just as fine as it had been driving all that time before. So God really blessed us with that. We didn't have to pull over. We didn't have to get another car. He just kept that car bringing us home, which was awesome. And we got home a little after 8, I think, 8:30 or something that night. Went straight to Daniel's and had a little piece of his cooking with Dan and Lou. They saved us a plate, me and Mom, and visited for a few minutes. And then I told Mom, I said, Monday, when we left to go take the rental car back. And I was exhausted. I told Mom, I said, I feel like I am on like jet lag or something. I don't want to do anything. I didn't even want to take that car back, but I drove the car up there. Mom picked me up and we came straight home, and I didn't do anything but the necessities that I had to do, just like my everyday necessities. I had to feed, I did a load of clothes. Actually, I started a load of clothes that night when we got home. All of our clothes that were in our dirty clothes bag, I started washing that night. But yeah, it was a fiasco toward the end, and still, God was just right there keeping us going and keeping us safe. And I never want to be broke down in Atlanta, Georgia again, ever. All the other little Georgias were just beautiful. Atlanta was, at least where we ended up having to come off the freeway at, was not a good location, I'm telling you. Anyway, so I've got these builds I've got to do, but I've got to take Debbie tomorrow to the hospital for some follow-up stuff. Yes. And,
get Whataburger tomorrow.
Levi's going to get Whataburger evidently tomorrow.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I want to
and then I'm hoping that I can just place my order for my lumber that I need while I'm out with Debbie, while she's at the doctor, just sit in my car like I do, and we just sort of do things around the area and get that ordered so it can be a pickup. And then as we're coming through Porter, I'll just pull off and get the lumber loaded. It's just a few boards. It's not lumber like 2x4s and stuff. It's flat 1x12s, 1x10s, and 1x8s. I think altogether it's 5 boards. Let them load those. That way when we get home, no matter what time, if it's not late, then I'll have enough time to cut all my sizes, and that part of the job would be done. And then I think Mom still needs to hit a couple of stores, and we tried to do it today. We went shopping today just to Walmart, and we were going to hit some other places, and I went in and come back out. Coda was asleep, so I was going to run in and get these were gifts that Mom was getting for people, and I come back out. I said, nope. We got to be here at 7 o'clock when they open, because I'm not standing in a line at Burlington where the line goes all the way back to quilts and blankets and housewares. I am just not. We can't do that. It's just too much. And so I said, I guess this is the Christmas season and everybody is, it's okay, stand in line. I said, but I don't want to. And I don't want to leave Mom and the baby in the car for an hour while I try to check out one thing. And it's something I pick up at the checkout. So I was able to go into TJ Maxx really fast and get that. That was like quick in and out. It was, God bless me with that one. But Burlington and Ross, no, we gave up. I gave up and come back out and got in the car. So we got to do that one early morning. And I'm still waiting for some things to come in for Christmas for the guys or for different people. And then I've got to do a little bit of cooking. I can probably do all the cooking on Sunday morning, because Sunday night is Christmas Eve, and that's when we go to Mom's for gift exchange and stuff. So really, after tomorrow, when I pick up the lumber, I've got Friday and Saturday work build days, put together days, craft days, whatever you want to call them, along with maybe another trip to town with Mom so we can get her couple of things that she wants out of the way, but they have to be early. And right now, me and Levi, I don't know what he's doing in there, but you just had waffles. No, we're fixing to run to town. Put them in the microwave until we get back.
What are I town for?
Your prescription. He ran out of his, he takes Clonidine. It's a blood pressure pill, but for him, it's a sleep aid. And, well, I guess it helps with his blood pressure too, although his is not really ever that high, but he ran out. He didn't have one the night that we got home. And I'd called it in, but then after all that stuff happened, that Monday, when I called to see if it was ready, it still wasn't. It was waiting for approval. And so I think it was, they said Tuesday, but when I called it yesterday, it still had not. But now I've got to notice that it's ready. So we've got to go because I gave him 2 melatonins last night and he didn't sleep. He's talking to himself. I mean, he fell asleep at some point, but then this morning, I got up at 6 and he was already in here watching TV. And so I don't know what time he left the room and come in here, but I'm going to run and get his prescription right now. And then I'm going to go clean my shop and get my shop all cleaned up and cleaned out and ready to be able to work on these projects. So that's my plan. And I've wasted 30 minutes of you guys telling y'all our last day of our trip and what my plans entail the next couple of days. Chia's here because Ellie's out of town. She's on the front porch right now on her cable, so she won't leave. That way I don't have to go search for her at somebody else's house, and she'd just be on the porch. Well, Mom and Dad will let her in. But basically, I try to tell everybody. I mean, I don't tell it to Ellie because I know she wants to be down there with Ellie. But Mom and Dad and them, unless the boys are there, I try to say, if she is around, don't let her in. Because what she'll do is she'll go straight up them stairs at Mom and Dad's. And they're steep little stairs. Mom and Dad's stairs are steep going upstairs where the kids are. But there won't be any kids up there, so she'll get up there. But the thing is, she can't come down by herself. She's scared to make, it's that first step. That, from the landing to the first step, is a deep step. And she won't make it. She's scared to death of it. Therefore, she's stuck up there. When a dog is stuck in a certain place, you know what happens. Peeing and pooping occur. And she'll be hungry when she starts yelping. And then Mom and Dad will realize she is upstairs. And there'll already be stuff they have to clean up. So she's here. But I have to keep her on her cable. Put her out, then bring her in, then put her out and bring her in. Let her do her business on a cable just a few feet away from the porch. That way I know she won't leave and I don't have to go search for her. Anyway. All right. I love you guys. God bless y'all. And I'll get this out to y'all tomorrow. But just know tomorrow that I'll be in Houston. And then we will, we'll get video of the craft that I'm going to be doing. I don't think, it's honestly a simple craft. It really is. And they're adorable once they're done. You can do them in all different kinds of ways. I'm thinking that I just want to do all of mine one color, so I don't have to deal with like, oh, I'm going to paint this one this, I'm going to paint this, I'm going to paint this. Just one color, all of them. And there'll be something else that separates them and makes them look different from each other. But there's a couple that look like that color that I'm saying I want to paint them all that one color. I'm thinking there's one color that's not going to look good. So I might have to go with something different with that one. Or I might have to do a couple of them so all the girls don't get one thing that looks alike and then this one person gets something that stands out so pretty that's different than everybody else's. They're all going to be pretty, but you just don't want to give one person something like, well, why did they get special? And it won't necessarily be that it's special. It's just that what I've got to go on this thing can't go with the original color. That's all I'm saying. So anyway. I'm out of here. I love you guys. And I will see y'all Friday or Saturday when I start on this craft. All right. Love you.